That's what they do. A grifter is not someone who sits in front of a camera and talks about video games, Fair Dark. You just don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. You are in that chair, Vara, because of your hair and your face and your gender.
Hot damn, you can smell the misogyny wafting off of this one. Dude, I have no clue what the heck is happening in the gaming community these days, but it's like every other day. It's like another one of these senile relics from the past has their remaining brain cells collapsing into a black hole. Honestly, it's to the point where you start to wonder if they're functioning on their own or if someone's remotely controlling them. Because seriously, what even is this? What is actually happening?
If you've ever criticized or disliked an MCU movie starring a female character, you are a misogynist. No ifs, ands, buts, or coconuts, sir. At least that's what David Jaffe, who I believe was the director of God of War, a video game. I'm not much of a gamer. This David Jaffe fella decided to make a jackass out of himself on Twitter, so we're going to cover it here. And that is what set Mr. Jaffe off. The original post, it feels like Brie Larson always goes out of her way to be as unlikable as possible. The man just asked a question. Don't turn it into yet another passive-aggressive session on how you let the internet live rent-free in your head. Not the nicest thing in the world to say, but pretty accurate considering the clip that we just showed. This is what old David Scott Jaffe, uninvited, had to say, just butting in on other people's business, and decides that he needs to disparage everybody. They can say Captain Marvel is a bad movie, but here's the truth. They don't like Brie because she doesn't give an F about them. She doesn't pine for their love affection. She doesn't need their adulation. She won't kiss their nasty ring of underdeveloped geek men, so they hate her for it.
David Jaffe's unhinged rant attacking Vara Dark, not because he thinks she's just unintelligent, but because she's pretty. And that's why she gets attention?
I mean, you're not educated enough. You're not bright enough, Vara, to talk to me or to talk about what I talk about. You're just not. You are not. And I'm going to look, you are a somewhat attractive woman with a really great head of hair. That's why you have an audience.
But we really going there?
And that's fine, by the way. There's no problem with that. I don't deny anyone making money and building an audience off, the things that they've got.
So this dude named David Jaffe is known in the gaming community as the dude who directed the God of War series and Twisted Metal. Now that he's left the company, apparently he just live streams on Twitch and YouTube about the video game industry, which a lot of ex-developers or retired developers or people who are taking a break is fine. They all do that. Most of them do that. And sometimes they'll operate as a consultant for other developers that are still in the thick of things, and that's fine too. Whatever. Nobody cares. A lot of these dudes do have the wisdom of their expertise to impart on the people who are coming after them. So I do agree that it is nice for them to have a platform and to lend that wisdom to the rest of those who are looking into getting into this or just curious. But then you have these bridge trolls that don't just come out for the purpose of imparting their sagacity, but infecting the world with their stupidity.
When you have a controversial opinion on the internet, you're bound to get wrecked for it, and that is exactly what's happened with David Jaffe. He decided to go on this tirade about how YouTube grifters killed Dragon Age the Veilguard when it was just a pile of trash that absolutely nobody enjoyed, but he decided to target certain content creators, myself included, and he's even going so far as to say that I am only successful because I'm a woman.
You just don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. You are in that chair, Vara, because of your hair and your face and your gender. And that's fine, by the way.
Imagine being a progressive person and then talking down to a woman in the same space as you and telling her that her opinions are invalid because the only reason that anyone is tuning in to listen to her is because she's a woman and she has hair and she has a pretty face. Something that, you clearly freaking lack. So, maybe that's projection or envy or something. But imagine you couldn't leave it at just criticizing her for her lack of knowledge on things based on what you're discussing. You automatically have to move it to, you silly woman. Why don't you go back and do your kitchen duties? Am I right? Wow. You left Alabama and, you I don't even want to go there. Interestingly enough, this guy also has a trans son. So previously, biologically, based on the wording here, I'm to believe that your kid was biologically female. I really hope that you didn't say things like that to your daughter when she was your daughter, which would have probably made her gender dysphoria worse, which would probably have allowed her to think, and I'm saying her because at that time, I'm imagining this is at the time when she's still a girl, that something is somehow wrong with her or that her opinions are invalid because people only tune into her because she's a woman. But yet, women are oppressed and don't have as many rights, right? Because I can imagine being your daughter and hearing you talk like that and me thinking, damn, I would love to be a guy because I would never be taken seriously as a woman. And I surely hope now that your child is male or is presenting as male that he doesn't go around talking to women the way that you're talking to women. Because damn. That wasn't it, bro. That wasn't it. And then he was saying all these things about Vara being a mental lightweight and basically condescending her. And I'm sorry, but if everyone is to just look at you and take what you're saying at face value, the things that you've already prefaced and the insults you've thrown at her and the way that you have basically immured her in the misogynist condescension that you're displaying, it's understandable for everybody to correlate that with your later comments of her being not as intelligent as you and being mentally lightweight. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't like throwing this word out there because people do abuse the word, but you're coming off as a misogynist or someone who is very jealous of this woman because she's able to probably do what you can't achieve. I find that the people who claim that they're progressive and that claim that they're liberal are anything but, and they are the most conservative people you'll ever meet. Like, conservative people now, I find, are a lot more liberal than actual people who are claiming that they're liberals or who tend to align with that side. Because the minute that you disagree with people like David Jaffe, whatever his name is, you will see how quick their racism comes out. Oh, you're black, don't you remember? Toe the fucking line. Oh, you're a woman, you're dumb. You shouldn't be speaking. Women shouldn't speak. You don't realize it, but now it's good. That's why I agree with Vara in that we shouldn't have any censorship because we wouldn't be able to identify people like you.
There's no problem with that. I don't deny anyone making money and building an audience off, the things that they've got.
So if you don't have a problem with it, why did you make it a problem? I don't understand why people say that. They'll be like, oh, I don't care, but you clearly, obviously care based on your comments that you made only half a second ago before you stated this. That's such infantile behavior, to be honest, and is not becoming of an old gray-bearded, gray-backed dude. Very odd, emasculated energy. See what I did there? You see? You would expect something like that from someone like me. Not from someone who is entering their golden years, has kids, probably has a wife or husband or whatever, and has had experience in the professional world for longer than a lot of us have been alive.
Let's be clear. So far, my encounters with you online, you are kind of you're a mental lightweight. And that's fine. People have all kinds of, what I'm bad at, Vera? I'm bad at math, man. If I was in NASA and they were like, oh shit, the space station's gonna explode. Everybody, we can only solve this by looking at the blueprints and the math and the, geometry. I don't fucking know. Jaffe, get in here. Within 5 minutes, they'd be like, Jaffe, go get the coffee.
Could just be me. And I know there's a hypothetical that you're giving, but I don't think they would let you anywhere near NASA to begin with, to be honest. And the irony is, I don't even think you're mentally capable enough for them to trust you with even getting the coffee. You might poison them. I mean, people can't sit around throwing insults all day. God knows you're low-hanging fruit when it comes to that. But if you're gonna put yourself as this older grandfather, because you call yourself Papa Jaffe, and you want to impart wisdom onto all of the rest of the world, then you probably should be setting a better example than sitting on your chair doing exactly the same thing that everybody else is doing, which is commentary, and taking your own advice and gathering some intelligence before speaking on someone else's intelligence. It actually looks worse on you because you're much older. I know that age doesn't come with wisdom necessarily, but you would think that it should a little bit. And for someone like this person to be engaging in this type of behavior with someone who could be his daughter, and someone who a lot of the young people are pointing at and telling him, yeah, this is not a win for you, it's doubly embarrassing. When a child is misbehaving, it's very disgusting behavior. everyone agrees that it's disgusting behavior, shouldn't be allowed, someone should correct it. I don't agree with, oh, he's a minor, so he should get away with the bad behavior. No. However, it is expected of a freaking 7-year-old or a 12-year-old. And so it is also expected of adults around that child to discipline and correct that behavior so that when they're adults, they don't make a fool of themselves like this dude is doing right now. It's also very narcissistic of this dude to think of himself so highly to the point where he would call somebody else a mental lightweight when he can't even function being online.
It's not for you. That's okay. They're right. Your voice could literally get Putin to back out of the Ukraine.
Calm down. She doesn't want to freaking sleep with you, dude. You gotta love the backhanded compliments. Your voice is the only reason people will listen to you. Very progressive. Very classy of you. You're labeling her a mental lightweight and claiming she only has followers because of her hair and face, and you don't even understand how much you're exposing your own insecurities while undermining her work and her voice as a woman. Isn't that something you're supposed to champion? No?
Ukraine. The Ukraine was a boy band from the 80s. Ukraine. You have about as much mental capacity as a spider that I killed in my shower this morning. It's the goddamn truth, Vara.
Grandpa, if you genuinely believe her content lacks substance, then why not just leave it at critiquing her arguments instead of resorting to personal attacks, dude? I mean, I'm all for people doing whatever, but I'm pointing out hypocrisy because I'm pretty sure, like, all of these people that act like this, they all are a dime a dozen. It's like a freaking hive mind. They will come out and act like this, but dare someone do the same thing. Oh my god, misogyny, when it has nothing to do with misogyny. Somebody will go out and critique a commentator. Let's just say me, right? I'm a female commentator, and let's just say that they're critiquing me and saying my voice sounds awful, which it does. I know. I can understand that, because it's like, okay, my voice really does sound annoying. I get it. Or they'll say, that argument that you're doing is stupid. Imagine me coming out after someone says, yeah, that theory or that argument, I don't agree with that because of such and such and such. This argument here has more merit because here's the evidence to the contrary to what you were saying. And me come out and open up my maw and say, misogynists! Do you see how stupid that is? And I feel like he's the kind of person that would do that. I could be wrong, but that's the energy that he's giving. And this dude is one to talk because, look, I know, I will be the first person to say that if you're not maliciously going after someone's appearance or insulting people on a personal level, if the argument had nothing to do about that's fine, right? But if you're actually starting to get upset to the point where you're insulting people's intelligence when you're in the middle of a debate, to the degree that he's doing and heavily insinuating that she's unintelligent because of her looks or the fact that she's a woman, or trying to undermine what she says because of her gender, then it means that you don't have an argument to begin with. And when people do that, I'm the first one that will give back that same energy. I do not care. And I mean, if the person's being malicious. It's different if people are teasing. Like, if he and her were friends and he said that to her, I'd be laughing right alongside them because it's kind of funny. If it's an obvious joke and people are poking fun. However, that's clearly not what this grandpa's doing. And dude, you say she doesn't know how to do this, implying that she doesn't know how to do YouTube. Maybe that's what you're talking about. Her engagement and views seem to be doing better than yours. And here's the thing. If Vara's gender and looks are the sole reason for her success, then why isn't every attractive woman a successful commentator when they try? Clearly, there's more to her appeal than you're willing to admit. Maybe because acknowledging her abilities would challenge your fragile ego. And I find it strange that you don't even realize how your misogynistic remarks betray the exact kind of bias that is preventing us as a society from progressing as much as we should. If you genuinely want to be seen as progressive and, oh my god, I have a trans son and I am so accepting, try addressing people's work based on merit, not these very classless, petty insults that are aligned with the outdated stereotypes that you do not like, and I'm pretty sure people like you on a daily basis would point your fingers at other individuals for spouting.
Now, I think that this is hilarious because we are talking about the type of person who preaches for diversity and inclusivity until it comes time to support inclusivity of thought and diversity of opinion. But also, I am a woman who happens to have a voice, and I have this platform that I'm extremely grateful for. But he is mad that I even have it, going so far as to say that I am a, quote, mental lightweight. So this really only all started because he got called out for his awful Dragon Age take. God of War's director, David, blames YouTube grifters for killing Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is absurd. We did not kill this game. What we do online is we voice our opinions. Now,
and this is why people don't take take individuals like Gramps over here seriously. Because on one hand, they tell you that if you don't like something, don't buy it. Don't watch it. I think it was earlier today, I was watching a video where someone was talking about Twitter and the mouthwashing game, and it was, I think, one of the developers that came out and was like, I don't want Asmongold, I don't want these specific people playing the game because it makes me feel like shit. That's something else to talk about. Wow. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm living in a freaking sitcom where everyone's in on the joke. But anyway, yeah, these are the same people that don't want people playing their games that don't agree with things that they stand for. And that's fine. And so they'll comment on that just like people will comment on it being positive. And all of a sudden it's, oh my God, it failed because people were badly talking about it. These are also the same people that were like, yes, you know what? That's right. Keep giving us clicks. Keep giving us watches because you guys bitching about it means more people will see it anyway. Yas. But then you say that, but then you also utter the opposite to that by saying now it's people's fault because they were talking bad about the game.
That the gaming community ruined this game's success. I mean, you know, I don't think that's entirely fair, but I think there is a lot of truth to it. If you're EA, you've got to kind of prepare for the market wins that you're sailing into and all that. And so they should have been prepared to counter, and they weren't. Really, at this point, all that gaming community that you're talking about has done is they've made it so they've actually made games worse, which is what they say they're trying to not do. Because they have the charismatic grifters that make the videos that for whatever reason people respond to. People who haven't actually played a game like played this game will hate it just because they're sort of told to hate it. And so what does EA do next time? They don't make Stellar Blade. They just continue to sort of, you know, vanilla the fuck out of everything they work on and make sure that no one's going to have anything to complain about.
It's not bad that you're trying to have this discussion, but the fact that you're even making these comments to me just screams like you've been selectively deaf to anything gamers in the community have been saying. And you've achieved absolutely nothing in the process. And you're telling people that they only hate a game because a grifter told them to. That's a peak way to insult the intelligence of an entire audience. I'm not saying there's not people out there that hate things just to hate them, and I'm not going to pretend that those people don't exist, but they're not the majority, and you're basically blanket stating this as though it applies to the entirety of the gaming community. Most of us just care about getting a good game. I know, imagine that. Shocking. I mean, there are people in certain communities that will hate games just because somebody's name who did the book franchise that's not directly tied in with the game and had nothing to do with it, but it's just linked to their name because they own the franchise. They'll bully people from playing it because they don't agree with the ideals of the person who created the franchise that the game is based on, even though that person had nothing to do with the game. Yes, I'm talking about Hogwarts Legacy. And you know what? I don't know this man personally, but I can bet you a quarter of my left tit that he is also the kind of person, especially given that he has a trans son, who would totally be okay with people shitting on the game and boycotting it on principle. The other thing that's weird about what he says, right, which is ironic given that the comments that he made about Vara being a mental lightweight, is that he blanket statements anybody who criticizes Dragon Age Veilguard as a grifter. A grifter is a term that people just throw around lackadaisically without knowing what the real meaning of it is. If they don't agree with you, oh, you're a grifter. Like, oh my God, wow, I got you now because I called you a grifter. Wow. And you don't even know the real goddamn meaning of the word. So let me help some of these people, right? A grifter is defined as a con artist, someone who swindles people out of money through fraud. If there's one type of person you don't want to trust, it's a grifter, someone who cheats others out of money. Grifters are also known as chiselers, defrauders, gougers, scammers, swindlers, and flim-flam men. Selling a bridge and starting a Ponzi scheme are things a grifter might do. The difference between a grifter and a thief is that a grifter tricks you out of money through lies, while the thief takes it by force. The end result is the same. So I don't know why that term would just broadly be applied to commentators. You're basically saying that anybody who has a voice and doesn't agree with your take on things should not be trusted because they're con artists, which is a highly narcissistic way to think and very sociopathic behavior, because then, like, why would we then trust you? I'm sure a lot of other people try to be as honest as possible, just like I do when it comes to things that they have an issue with. I mean, we can keep doing this back and forth and say that people like you are grifters because you claim to be progressive and are doing this for brownie points, but then when the shit hits the fan, we actually see that you're very anti-progressive, given how readily misogynistic you are when it comes to a female commentator who doesn't agree with your takes or ideologies. You see? You see how we can keep doing that? And Mr. Jaffe, You're also very disconnected from the community if you think that people just believe YouTube commentators and hate something just because the YouTubers say they should. This is a very shallow way to think and very insulting to the gaming community, and you should be ashamed that it was even uttered out of your mouth. It sounds like you've not actually sat down with one of these people from the community and asked them why they hated Dragon Age Veilguard. It's almost like you don't know how to do this, and you're too mentally lightweight to navigate the YouTube sphere or have the ability to engage in discourse and listen to what other people are saying. I would have believed that someone like you would have been well socialized by now to have the ability to do this, but apparently you were wrong. But then again, I will give him a little bit of leeway, because we have seen that people as a whole will just apparently believe things without evidence. I can't even lie. There are certain communities, I don't want to say people as a whole, because I know a lot of people are sheep, I get it, but there are certain communities, especially, that will just believe things without evidence, just on faith and by their word or gospel or whatever. And no evidence is required. Just blind faith. This one person said so it must be that. And we just see them run with it. Oh my god, somebody said this. That must be the case. Let me not use the instrument I now have at my fingertips that gives me access to worldwide information and see for myself in like 2 clicks. Let me not do that. Let me just take a thumbnail or take the voice of somebody, one person, and just be like, yeah, evidence? What's that? We don't need to believe it, right? Who cares? And they don't even get the freaking irony. They will make fun of religions and don't get the irony that they are one and the same. I just don't understand.
Now, I, of course, live streamed a full playthrough on the channel from start to finish. I gave my take, I did a review at the end of those live streams, and I just simply did not enjoy it. It did not feel like Dragon Age. I was sick and tired of the modern terminology being shoved in your face, like transgender, non-binary, having to pick your pronouns. I think that's ridiculous in a fantasy dragon game. That's just my take. He's allowed to say that he thinks it's fine. It is what it is. But we did not kill this game. What we did was we gave our opinion, and when it comes to actually talking about some of the people behind this project, they really do seem to hate gamers, so we just called it all out. And he's furious that our voices matter, that content creators have a voice, but also that it's so easy for people to, at the end of the day, give their opinions.
Hush.